Okay, systems and models. This is all from Mr. Kramer Science. You can find the link in the description. I'm going to read through the significant ideas, major understandings. You can feel free to pause the video at any point if you want to look at a graphic in more detail or read some of the descriptions here. But a systems approach can help in the study of complex environmental issues. And everything is going to be linked as we look through these different systems. The use of systems and models simplifies interactions, but may provide a more holistic view without reducing issues to single processes. The first understanding, a systems approach is a way of visualizing a complex set of interactions, which may be ecological or societal. So today in class, we looked at ecological systems. You also could have societal systems. These interactions produce the emergent properties of the system. Emergent properties are more complex properties that emerge or come out of a system as you look at all of the whole. So you can see here we're made up of molecules and atoms, which individually don't do very much, but as they come together to make cells and tissues, they can make very complex organisms like us or an elephant. And those organisms can come together to make even more complex systems. The concept of a system can be applied to a range of scales. So we can see very small scale in a cell here, to a larger scale, to even broader, maybe the entire Earth as a system. And of course, as we saw today, there are storages and flows in systems. Those flows will have inputs and outputs of either energy or matter. So here's a nice diagram showing photosynthesis. You can identify some flows in here, as well as transfers where energy might be moving, or transformations where it's actually changing, maybe changing in chemical nature, maybe in physical state, maybe changing from energy to matter, vice versa. And all of these transformations are going to take energy. Energy is going to be lost in the systems, as we saw in Silver Springs. And once again, you can feel free to pause at any time to look in more detail at any of these slides. So systems diagrams, as we looked at today, storages are usually boxes, flows are usually arrows. The arrows are really good at showing movement because they also kind of show direction. And then you can use different sizes, as we saw today as well, to show relative size or magnitude between the two. Okay, important new content. We have 3 types of systems. The main type of system we'll see is an open system. This system will exchange both energy and matter across its boundary, whereas a closed system will exchange only energy across its boundary. Subtle difference, but very important. So we look at this system here, we have sunlight entering this system, so energy is being exchanged. But of course, carbon dioxide and oxygen and water are also going in and out of this plant. So matter is also being exchanged in this system. Therefore, it's open. Same with the water cycle, right? There's water moving in and out of the cycle. So within that contained system, it's sort of open. But if you looked at the water cycle on the entire Earth, you might think of it more as a closed system, as water does not really leave or enter the Earth, except for very, very rarely on a comet, maybe, can add a little bit extra water. But for the most part, the Earth is a closed system, right? All the matter here is staying here, not going anywhere else. Whereas energy is still coming in, maybe not right now because it's nighttime, but during the day, we'll get lots of nice energy from the sun. So the distinction there is whether matter goes across the boundary. And pretty much every system we're going to see is going to be open unless we're considering the entire Earth as a whole. And then the third type is just an isolated system, sort of hypothetical. This is where neither energy nor matter is exchanged. This system would be totally contained. You might consider the entire universe as an isolated system, But that's kind of based on our understanding of how the universe works. You know, if there's actually a multiverse and you can go between those two, then that wouldn't be an isolated system. Um, Most important one I would say to remember is open system exchanges both energy and matter. And almost every system we encounter is going to be an open system. So ecosystem, you can see matter being exchanged here, oxygen and carbon dioxide exchanged through photosynthesis, which I'm also doing as I breathe, just in the opposite direction. And then we also have energy exchange. Sunlight is causing water to evaporate and transform, etc. And then a model is just a simplified version of reality. In a way, systems thinkings are sort of models. Basically, we take something really complex and we try to make a simplified version of it. You can see a cool little model of Star Wars here, or some climate modeling, which tells us a lot about past climate, but also makes predictions for future climate. And also, math is sort of a way of modeling the universe, taking things we see in the world and trying to represent them in, you know, symbols, simplified version. My brother, who's a physics major, basically says that all of physics is just trying to create a model of reality and just trying to make that model more and more accurate. Some more examples of models. We'll talk about feedback loops in more detail. But again, feel free to pause and look in more detail at some of these. I just want to include this last couple slides because there's some good sort of like example IB style questions. So on the IB exam, the questions are going to be pretty open-ended. They might have you construct a systems diagram from a given set of information. So maybe they give you information about some plants and some herbivores and some carnivores, and then you have to draw, say, a food chain or something like that. Or here's another one. Maybe they give you some information about, say, the water cycle or the carbon cycle, and you have to kind of draw all that out. We'll do lots of practice with that, but just wanted to include it so you could get sort of an idea of what that might look like.